Welcome back to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your day. Time for garden questions and garden answers. Send them on over to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. And toll free, coast to coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. Let's see what we can get through the top of the hour.
All right, so here's our question. Hi, Joe and Holly. I have attached some pictures of aroma tomatoes. This happens every year to any paste type tomato we grow. We got some of the slicers too, but mostly just the paste. We are not getting blossom end rot. It seems that it seems related to water, as we've had this problem for 5+ years. We have tried Roma Amish paste and a hybrid called the Gladiator. All of them make it, especially the bigger the tomatoes are, the small ones don't seem to get this. Some years we have dry, hot weather, or some years we have warmer weather with more rain. So they're in southern Iowa. This tomato had basically cracks on the top.
Right. It looks like somebody took and cut 4 slices, and it opened up and then it healed itself on the top of the tomatoes. So
this is called tomato cracking, and it's from inconsistent watering. Not necessarily inconsistent watering on your behalf. It's because of things like rushes of rain and then dry periods, and that's what happens.
So it's basically it rains, it sucks up too much moisture, cracks because the skin can't grow quicker and it just sucks it up like a sponge, and then it has to expand and it cracks, and then it reseals it or heals itself. So
and we've seen this where they've blown out.
Right. The bottom has blown out after a rainstorm because we wasn't watering consistently, and the bottom would just blow out because it sucked all the moisture up it can. So I guess the simplest answer to why this is to solve this is, one, you may not be able to solve this entirely, but having consistent amount of moisture in the soil so that whenever the plants do get that rain, it doesn't feel like it has to suck up everything it can.
She does state that she has soaker hoses for the years it has been dry. So I'm wondering is if the watering isn't consistent
enough.
Like you have to stay consistent.
Really damp.
Mm-hmm. And that could be part of the problem. So you can still eat the tomato.
Right.
It's not a problem.
And it's on what you call the shoulders of the tomato, from the connection to the plant, and that upper portion that's called the shoulders. And in some varieties of tomatoes, that doesn't fully ripen anyway, so you're discarding kind of that first cut of tomato that's near the top where the stem would connect to the fruit. So now you know. All right, next question here is, cleaning up the garden, ready for fall, winter. When can I plant the garlic? I'm in zone 4B.
So you're going to, was that north of us?
Yes.
Yeah. So we plant ours like October 1st.
Right, which we probably will push back a little bit now.
Typically about like 6 weeks before.
60 days before the first hard freeze.
Freeze. So that would be your estimation. So 60 days before the first hard freeze. So you would want to go put in your zip code first hard freeze. Or would that be first hard freeze. And then it should, any search engine should give you an idea, and then you can back it off 60 days. Now,
that's no guarantee that you're going to have that freeze on November 14th. That is an average. Now, you can plant your garlic in that October, early November, even mid-December, or mid-November, early December timeframe, as long as you can get the ground to work. And you can get the garlic in a raised bed 4 inches down, in traditional ground about 3 inches down, you're going to be fine. If you do plant it in the early portions of October, you can pre-soak your garlic, and I would encourage that no matter when you plant it, in order to get it to establish roots. And that's the key, to get it rooted in, and then it's going to dormancy. Early garlic that is planted, that we have planted in the first week in October, it has begun to germinate above ground about 2 inches. That's nothing that's going to be detrimental to the plant. It will go into dormancy perfectly fine and then reestablish in the spring. We do not mulch. We don't find that it's necessary. And we've had some of the harshest winters on record without mulching our garlic, and it has done just fine. So that is how we would recommend going about planting your garlic and when to plant it. All right, question here. What do I do with my sedum?
Yeah, so sedum is a perennial plant. It's kind of flowery, but kind of plant looking. It's hard to explain unless you've seen what they look like. And a lot of people have these in their garden. A lot of times
it is a shorter, stockier plant with a kind of a waxy film on the leaves, and the stem can come in several different colors from purple to pinkish hue to whitish pink, and can grow, I would say it's about 16, 20 inches tall at best, and grows in clumps.
Yes. So these are perennials, and a lot of times you kind of inherit them. I don't think people do plant them, but sometimes they just end up, they're just there in your garden. But you can get them from other people. Some people will divide them, whatever. So you can prune them by cutting them back to the ground or just above the new growth. But a lot of times people recommend leaving them dried, the flower heads, because they can provide visual interest over the winter. They can also be a good food source for birds. So, you can watch the snow on the sedum, see if the birds come and get the dried flower heads, whatever. So I would just leave them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can you explain the growing zone thing, please? Okay. Growing zones are a division of temperature ranges. In North America, it goes from 1 to, I believe it's 12 or 13 when you get down into the southern tip of Texas and into Mexico. The higher the number, the warmer the winters are. You can go and find it on your favorite search engine. You can call your local extension office, Extension University. Every 20 years they reestablish and rechange.
I think it's every 20 years.
Because I think it was early in 2024 that they readjusted a lot of the growing zones. We went from 5A to 6A because they said that we were getting warmer in the winter. This is a guide in which for your perennial plants, you may see a perennial plant that has a label that's rated for zones 4 to 6. And you are in zone 5, so it would be appropriate for you. And most independent garden centers have plants that are only good for your particular area. Now, they will have tropical plants, but that is well known in advance. So you can find this out, and it's a guide that will help you. Is it guaranteed that it will be that temperature as the coldest? No. That's why we recommend, if you're going to buy perennial plants, and for example, you're in zone 5, I would recommend looking for plants that are suitable for at least one growing zone colder than what you currently live in and it would be planted in, because we have those off winters where it is extremely cold, much lower than what the average is. And if you had that plant that's a little more hardy, it's going to likely survive rather than having to replant it every 4 to 6 years when these anomalies come through and things get really, really cold. All right, one more question here. I am seeking guidance on canning pickles using my grandmother's recipe, which I have been unable to perfect. Although I have identified one of 2 errors, I was making my homemade pickles having consistently been salty, with some jars being saltier than others. Despite this, they closely resemble my grandmother's pickles in taste, which is comforting. Can you offer suggestions on how to remedy this saltiness taste? Well, first of all, your grandmother's recipes may probably be out of date and not safe, even though it's a pickle recipe.
That's something to keep in mind, is that you might want to find something similar through a safe resource like the National Center for Home Food Preservation or bulk canning.
We understand why you want to carry on and utilize that recipe. We get that. It's your grandmother's recipe. It's nostalgia. It brings back the memories. However, it may not be certified safe.
Right.
And we have found, if you've got grandparents that ever cooked for you, you understand that they measure ingredients in love that we don't know what that measement is.
Right. A lot of people talk about this, about how they've watched their grandparents cook or bake or whatever.
And can't duplicate it.
Because it was like, or the grandparent wrote down the recipe.
And left out that one thing. Because,
they didn't have like, they thought they're adding half a cup of tomato paste. That's a lot of tomato paste. Like a couple tablespoons of tomato paste, but they were actually adding something else. Just whatever it may be. So
some of them grandparents are sneaky. Hey, here's the recipe. I didn't add this. I didn't write this part down because I don't want you to know it.
Right. So one thing is,
could water be the
I don't
city water with the chemicals versus well water that has the minerals?
That could be.
Okay.
It could be a water, especially if it's been a few years since the grandparents passed. Water does change, or maybe you're using a purified water versus a city water, what have you. I would just reduce the salt in the recipe if that is something where you can find a comparable recipe. It might have less salt.
But you need salt.
You need salt. A lot of these recipes have changed over the years, so has food quality and food science. So maybe I don't know why you would need. You think you need more salt now because food quality has changed, but I don't know. So you might want to find a similar recipe, look up some recipes or go to the library, look in some canning books and find something that has like similar ingredients and give that a try.